Hey, all, it's Toni Gonzalez with one of my all-time faves. Joining us on Loudwire Nights tonight is Shinedown frontman Brent Smith. A million gazillion welcomes, Brent. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me. It's always lovely to hear your voice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, the latest big news in Shinedown land is that the band has scored their 15th number one single on the Billboard Mainstream Rock Songs chart with their latest Attention, Attention. They also scored their 16th number one on the Active Rock Radio chart, both chart records. What are your thoughts? What were your thoughts when you got the news? And is it still as exciting as it was before? There's no way.
It's probably 1,000% more exciting now than ever. We do our best to respect the past and history and what have you, but we're always looking to tomorrow. But to be honest with you, the two main elements here for this success is you and people like yourself and the fan base and radio. I think that there's a lot of ways that people find out about artists and bands now more than ever than maybe 20 years ago, obviously because of the internet and what have you, and that can be a really awesome tool. But the fact of the matter is for us personally, we tour very, very heavy. We tour the way that we feel works for us. But when it comes to the songs, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's all on the audience because they're the boss, But when you talk about mainstream radio, you talk about formats, you talk about active rock, you talk about rock and roll just in general, radio has always been there for us. But I think the reason that is because we're never going to phone anything in. Everybody has an opinion about who Shinedown is and what we represent, but it's the fan base and it's also the loyalty of not only the music directors and the program directors, not just in the United States, but all over the globe that have supported this band from day one, and we're always going to continue to give you our absolute best no matter what.
Well, congratulations. Many more to come. We've actually been playing Attention, Attention on the show often, and that song is a part of the story where there's an alarm going off in the person's head, right? It's the title track to the Story album. Does it bug you a bit that the songs are rolled out on radio anyway, not in the order in which the story takes place, right? Like so much goes into you coming up with this concept, this story, and then it kind of gets put out there in a different weird order.
You know what? That's a really cool question, especially for this album specifically, because it is a story front to back. But the unique thing is we had a plan by design from the beginning. And I'm actually in Los Angeles, California right now because I am in a studio every single night working with our director, Phil Yukich, who is the director of all the 4 videos that you've seen. But the fact is, 19 months ago, when the album came out and was presented to the world, we did let everybody know. We realized the album sonically and what the story was, and we're also going to realize the album visually. And we are slated right now with this year. I can't give specific dates, but the bulk of the film, which is Attention, Attention, which is a full-length feature, we're going to have it ready in March. And so with the radio and the singles and how they're released, yes, there was a reasoning behind how these singles were released because, yes, there's a lot of bands that make videos and things like that, and they release their singles and what have you, but the second act to this story and this project is getting ready to be presented to the world. So it's going to be realized how we always wanted it to be realized to the audience. So the radio side of it and how the singles were released, that was on purpose because in a minute everybody's going to get to see the entire story front to back, not only sonically but also visually because it's going to be on the big screen.
Okay, I didn't know there was a rhyme or reason behind the way that the singles were released. That's interesting.
There was.
Okay.
There is. We borrowed from, let's just put it this way. We borrowed from Quentin Tarantino. We didn't steal anything, but we definitely, there was a bit of a, there was a bit of like, let's do certain things in reverse. Let's throw some things forward because ultimately we're going to present it visually and sonically to everybody. It's just the fact that it's going to be coming out essentially 2 years after the record came out. which once again allows us to kind of beat to the sound of our own drum.
Got it. When was the last time that alarms went off in your head? Because you recently spoke about getting to this place that you just completely trust your gut at this point. When was the last time your gut and your brain were like, danger, danger, attention?
You mean like philosophically or like literally? Like there was an alarm that went off?
I'll take whatever
because we were
get.
when we were doing the Alter Bridge tour in Europe and UK, we were in, where were we? Yeah, we were in Cologne, Germany, and it was 3:30 in the morning, and it was a day off. And alarms went off that night, and like all of the bands, like both, like ourselves, the Raven Age, and Alter Bridge, we were all staying at the Intercontinental in Cologne, Germany. And like 3:30 in the morning, these alarms go off. There's like fire trucks everywhere and everything. Everyone has to like walk down the steps, so like everybody's like outside of the hotel, all the band and the crews and the other patrons that are in the hotel, and we're all just like hanging out in our robes and stuff like that, and we were just kind of looking at each other like, well, you don't see this every day.
Was it a false alarm?
That was the first. It actually, here's the thing, it wasn't a false alarm. I believe someone was in cardiac arrest, and they actually sounded the alarm to draw attention to it, obviously. But I think we did find out that they were okay. But yeah, there was like fire trucks and ambulances and everything. So I don't think it was a false alarm in that.
I would have loved to see like Shinedown, hotel evacuated. We're here with our frontman, Brent Smith. What's going through your head right now?
Well, it's funny too because like we're all out there, and I'm like the only one. I mean, dudes are out there in their underwear and shit like that. I mean, so pardon my French, sorry. They're out there like in their underwear and stuff like that, and I'm out there in like shorts and a hoodie. I always wear a hoodie on days off, and like when I'm walking around, I just keep my hood around me because I'm not trying to draw any attention. And the reality is that like I had my hood down, and I'm just kind of like out there, and I wasn't even wearing shoes. So, like, people were recognizing, because me and Mark Tremonti were standing next to each other, and so there were, like, people coming up getting pictures and stuff like that. So we actually turned it into, like, a fun experience with everybody. So it was kind of comical, but everybody had, they were good sports about it. And obviously it was good that the person that was in the middle of a health scare that they ended up being okay.
Yeah, definitely important, but a little unexpected meet and greet there at 3 a.m. That's hilarious. All right, we'll move on. Yeah. Shinedown, going to be back on the road this spring with your deep dive tour. You're going to be playing more intimate venues. The focus will be on B-sides, deep cuts, plus the singles we all know and love. How does that change in venue and change in material kind of change the experience for you and your bandmates?
This is something where we're making it very, very difficult on ourselves because we're going to have to do a lot of rehearsal for this. We're not kidding around with when we say, it's a deep dive tour. We really mean a deep dive because over the years, people have just asked us. They've said, will you ever play the song Her Name Is Alice? Why come you don't play For My Sake off Amaryllis? What about What a Shame? What about Breaking Inside? What about, the song Miracle and, things like that. And all these songs some of the songs that we're going to be playing too are from the first record that never get played live. Also with the second album, Us and Them, there's a lot of material in there that either we've only played it a couple of times or in some cases we've never played certain songs that people want us to, they want to see it live. I've always said this too, just because a song on a record isn't a single, it doesn't make it a filler cut either. Like we try to never look at an album, like I said, and do the whole quintessential, okay, we have our 3 singles and the rest of it we can just kind of, whatever we got. That's just not the way we're designed. So the process of this is really because we don't want to disappoint the fan base. But yeah, there's going to be some songs that we've never played in front of an audience before. Some songs that we've only played like in a rehearsal with each other. Some songs that, we have played before live, but it's been 15 years. It also makes us, we have to be on our toes. We have to really, really dig in and we have to really look at these songs and make sure that we're playing them with conviction with these particular shows. Because the Deep Dive Tour is an evening with. There's no other bands with us. It's just us. So, I mean, the attention and the focus is on the audience and ourselves. So, a lot of practice. I will say that. There's a lot of practices involved before we hit the road with this.
Little relearning of some songs, and maybe you don't remember quite the way you should, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have said that's going to be the one big tour of the year. Traditionally, Shinedown tours a lot. So am I actually to believe that you guys are, off till April? Have you really chosen to slow down touring in 2020? And if so, why?
It's not, Toni, that we're slowing it down. It's that 2020 is a creative year for us because we're only doing 31 shows this year. 7 of those shows haven't been announced yet, but it's the bulk of April and May that we're doing. And then down towards the end of the year, or the back half of the year, we're going to do 7 shows. The reality is that not only are we working on the Attention film to have it released in, or to have it premiered in March, and then hopefully by the summer it's in theaters. You know, we're looking at doing a movie tour this year, but we're not playing music on that tour. We're taking the month of either June or July probably and going out and actually watching the film with fans in multiple markets. You know, sometimes 2-3 times a day, doing like 2 or 3 cities a day, watching the film, doing Q&As and doing that. Not to mention, me and Zach are beginning the process of the next Smith & Myers record, which is going to be a double album. So there's going to be 10 brand new covers that actually right now, we just created the Smith & Myers official Instagram page that you can check out right now. Yesterday, it was kind of announced that the audience, here you go. Just like the first time we did Smith & Myers, the covers are picked by the audience. So we're just kind of gathering the songs that people would really like to hear us do. But what makes this album different is it's a double album. And so it's going to be 10 originals, 10 covers. That's slated for release in August. It may be October. And then obviously in April and May, we're going to tour the deep dive shows. And I think we have a handful, like 4 festivals that we're headlining. I know we're doing Point Fest in St. Louis. I think we're doing Earth Day Birthday. We're doing Rock Fest in Tampa. And then I think Sand Jam is one of the other festivals. And then we leave tour on May 19th, we finish. And then everybody goes to Charleston, South Carolina with Eric. And we start the preliminary writing process for what will essentially be Shinedown 7.
Oh, my God.
And, yeah, pushing through the back half of the year. But, yeah, there's no downtime. There's just, we're just not touring as much because it's a creative year. But we got a big announcement for 2021, something that we've never done before. It's kind of funny. People are always like, why are you always a year ahead? And I'm like, because I have to be. I got to think about what the next step is for us. So, it's just not as many shows this year because we've got a lot of stuff that we're creating this year.
And here I was thinking, wow, actually maybe going to be chilling on a beach for a couple months. He'll be relaxing, enjoying his loved ones. Yeah, maybe not so much. But, oh, wait, I do have
I'll tell you this, though. Okay. I had 4 full weeks with my son during the holidays, and that was the best. And, because I don't see him as much as I want to, but I do my best to, he's 12 now. Wow. And he has an opinion. So that's interesting. And, it's just amazing to have conversations with him now and just to watch his growth and I'm not biased. It's just the truth of the matter. He just is my absolute hero. And he just totally he makes me so proud and just blows me away with how respectful he is, how smart he is, what an awesome young man he is becoming. So I was able to have 4 full weeks with him during the holidays and the beginning of the new year. And, I just make a point to, get to him as much as I possibly can. So
cute. Does he have musical talent like his papa?
What's great about my son? He could care less that his dad is in a rock band.
Okay. Not into it.
He has no musical interest at all. He is literally, it's all basketball all the time. That kid is hustling like nobody's business, and he's a really, really good player. He also is really into school, and I mean that very honestly. He really loves to learn. And, he's in a lot of different things, but he's very much an athlete. He likes music, but he Nah, he's not. I don't think he's going to be necessarily following in his dad's footsteps, and I'm totally fine with that. Like, I've never pressured that on him. Obviously, with the basketball and his love for basketball, the last 4 days has been extremely rough for him, as it has been for the entire millions of people around the world with the death of Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and all the people that perished in the helicopter. So it's been a little tough here the last few days because he's just trying to understand that.
Yeah. Going back real quick, because I was going to touch on the Smith and Myers, the side project you and Zach Myers do, because you mentioned you were heading back into the studio. I wanted to chime in and throw out a suggestion because I am a fan, and I think
hell yeah, let me have it.
I could throw one out there too, right? Lucky Man by The Verve. I don't know. You've probably never heard it. It's not a super popular.
I love that song. Yeah, is that the one that says, 'cause I'm a lucky man with fire in my... Is that one with fire in my hand? I think that's the lyric.
Yes, that's it. Okay. Well, you just made me happy because you sang a little bit of it. So I guess it was worth suggesting.
Hey, I like that song. I haven't heard that song in a while. When I hang up with you, when I get a second, I'm gonna go listen to it. But yeah, I know that song very well, actually. I'm putting it on the list. Okay. I mean that too. I've got the list. I've got like 236, 7. Yep. You're number 237 now on the list.
Awesome. All right. I saw this video the other day. You guys made it when you're promoting the upcoming tour, and you were all kind of huddled together. You were chanting. It looked like you were about to go on stage. And it was, we will not fall because we have each other. We will not fall because we are brothers. Is that the pre-show chant? What's the rest of it? And when did that tradition begin? If it is a tradition, I don't know. It sounded like it.
Yeah. So if you've ever seen The Hour Out, of the folklore of any musician or just any band, probably a little bit more with bands than like some of the other genres, if you will. But yes, there are some traditions. So if you go back, and you can type this into on the internet if your listeners are curious about it. If you type in Shinedown and then type in do, which is DOODOODOO. So we have a thing called doo-doo time, and it's not what you think it is. But if you're in the room and you're invited into doo-doo, it's 1 hour before we walk on stage, and you get a drink. You can have a beer, you can have a shot, you can have a glass or a can of Coke, you can have a bottle of water. It doesn't matter. So you got to be in an hour before. And so everybody puts their drinks in the center. Barry, our illustrious drummer, he conducts it. So he explains to everyone, okay, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, and you are going to scream at the top of your lungs, do, until you almost pass out. And you got to do it in one breath. So that happens. And then before you can leave the room after doo-doo, you have to cheers everybody with a weird look, and you have to finish your drink. And then you're kicked out, basically, unless you're in the band. And then the huddle is what we call it. It started in 2000, and I think it was during the Sound of Madness album cycle, because we didn't really have a way of, like, I always feel like you need to be able to, as a performer, there's the person you are on stage or when you're in front of a camera or any of that. When you're performing, there's that person. And then there's who you are 22 hours of the rest of the day. And so for us, I felt like we needed like a switch, like a metaphorical switch to go off. And so I just got in the huddle. I told everybody, let's get in a huddle. And they were all kind of, I remember it was a little apprehensive at first because like a huddle, we're not a football team. But it's like, no, but we're a family. And in all reality, we actually are a team. So it is, we get around each other, and one of us will say to the right, and everybody leans back and forth left and right in the huddle. And I say, we will not fall because we have each other. We will not fall because we are brothers. We will not fall because we have love, and we will not fall because we will rise above. Put them in. And everybody puts their hands in. I count to 3. Everyone screams Shinedown. And then we have what we call the dance with our crew backstage before we walk on deck. And the dance is something, if you ever get a chance to witness, it's pretty special because this is kind of like the second half of when we get ready to walk on stage. there's a whole kind of huddle thing that we do with the crew, and everybody's got kind of like their own handshakes and stuff like that, little things they do with each other. And it just, because when the crew and the band are in the middle of the dance, and what the dance is, it's when everything is firing off. It's when the band is on, the crew is on, and you just see this, you can almost see the energy like swirling in the room or in the field when we're playing the festival, wherever we're playing. So there's a couple of things that have to happen before we actually launch into the performance.
Oh my God, that is one hell of a ritual. It sounds exhausting. You'll be tired before you, the doo-doo, the chant, there's the dance. Guys are leaning everywhere. That's a very unfortunate name, though, the doo-doo-doo. But everything else sounds really good.
It's not really, because when you do it with us, then you understand what it is. Like, it's one of those things, and it's a good conversation piece. And then when people come in and they actually do it with us, they're like, this is the most ridiculous yet awesome thing I have ever been a part of. Like, a lot of people will say that when they get invited in to do it. They're like, I didn't know what this was going to be, but this might be my favorite thing ever.
I love it. I love it. I want to switch gears. This is actually serious, and it might be a bit premature to ask, but maybe not, because just moments ago, the coronavirus was declared a global health emergency. Given how much you all travel,
I just read it.
Yeah, given how much you all travel, the massive crowds you perform in front of, does that situation concern you at all?
You know what? Yes, 1,000%. You have to be concerned. You can't brush things like that off. You have to be educated and aware. Will the media blow things up sometimes? Obviously, yes. But usually when you're talking about people's lives and you're talking about something as serious as a virus that has never been detected before and they don't fundamentally have a cure for it, you take that very seriously. Yes. So you have to just kind of be aware of, you make sure you know where they're trying to quarantine certain parts of the globe, where people are coming in. Obviously, if you're doing international touring, or you're doing touring at all, because it's an airborne virus, you just have to take precautions and educate yourself on it. But yeah, no, that's never anything that we just like, we're not going to, you know what I mean? Like, you don't brush that kind of stuff off. And if you are that type of person where you would just kind of brush something off like that, I would highly recommend you change your thought process, because that changing of your thought process might just save your life. Agreed.
All right, 2 more questions here. I'll let you go. In a recent interview, Zach Myers said that the members of Shinedown are the kings of that some kind of monster moment. Once a month, you guys kind of just, you purge it out, right? So my question is, did the band make you a better communicator, or is that just who you've always been as a person? Are you a good communicator, or maybe it's only with the band that you communicate well?
I was raised by essentially 3 people. My grandmother, who on my dad's side, she never got to see on Earth all of this. I was demoing what would become the Leave a Whisper record when she unfortunately passed away. She was killed in a car crash. And so she was never able to see this. I know she sees me from, somewhere else, because I can always feel her. But, she raised me in a lot of ways. She's a lot of my personality. My granny, who is my mom's mother, who's still alive, she gave me all of my work ethic. And my mom and my dad just instilled every part of me to be genuine and be humble and be honest, but be a real man. Don't be a guy. My dad would always say that, like, don't be a guy, be a man. And my mom just gave me humility and taught me how to be, kind, and taught me how to be a gentleman, And, moving into my own life, as I got older, I took all those values with me. I've made a tremendous amount of mistakes in my life, but I've tried to learn from them. So I would say that I'm a good communicator, not because I can size someone up within the first 10 seconds, but because I don't size someone up in the first 10 seconds. It's because I never judge a book by its cover. I always look at the big picture, and I try to look at my surroundings, and I try to not implement what is best for me in every situation. I try to formulate a plan for what's better for the people around me. So, and I always try to be the hardest worker in the room, and I try to surround myself with the same people, the same type of person. So yeah, I would think that I'm a pretty decent communicator.
Well, they raised you right. I haven't yet. I've been in this business for years, heard anybody say anything bad about you, and that's super uncommon. So something went well.
Well, thanks.
No
I
problem.
appreciate it.
It's true. Everybody thinks you're like the nicest guy. It's crazy.
Well, I gotta be honest though too. I've said this to you before because it's 100% the absolute truth. Coming from you, that means a great deal to me because I'm a big fan of yours, and so coming from you, that means a great deal to me. So thank you.
Sweet. You recently had a birthday earlier this month. Happy late birthday. Very late, but happy late birthday. Perhaps this is a guy thing, but why were you excited or that excited to receive a Masters of the Universe Snake Mountain toy? I don't know what that is. Toy game.
Oh my God.
What is that?
Because I am a 42-year-old male now that still freaking loves He-Man. I can't help it. It's just one of those things from my childhood that it just brings me so much joy and nostalgia. And here's the thing about me also. The people that are in like my family and the people that have known me for, anybody that's known me for 20 years and longer knows that I'm a minimalist, which means like I don't even own a house. Like I lived in California when I was from 2011 to 2016, but because I was only in the house for maybe 5 months of that entire time, I just sold the house. And I am on the road pretty much 280 days out of the year on average, but that's not necessarily the question you asked me, but why the He-Man thing? So I'm a minimalist, and like I don't store a lot of stuff. I'm not a hoarder. And so I was with my son, and me and my son, and he has a younger brother, and his mother, who me and her are very close with each other and still great friends to this day. And, her husband and I get along great, and we're always together during holidays and things like that. Like we spend time together, like all of us. And so her husband, when I was with them over the holidays and New Year, me and her husband, his name is Eric, we were driving the boys I think we were going to Universal or something like that. And we were driving by, and my son goes, "Oh, check it out, the comics." And I go, "What is that over there?" And he's like, "Well, it's this giant comic store, but they have like all these toys and this and that and the other." I'm going to fast forward the story. So he kicks a Yui real quick and goes into this store that I've been going in and out of Florida in Winter Springs and Orlando for the better part of 20 years. I never knew that this store was there. It's been there since like the 90s. So we walk inside, and it is just a mecca of like just all kinds of crazy toys from like back in the day and this and that and the other. But I had Snake Mountain when I was a kid because everybody else wanted Castle Grayskull. So there was like a ton of Castle Grayskulls all the time. So we're in this shop, and there's one Snake Mountain. And so I kind of like, I pick it up and I'm looking at it and stuff like that. I was like, man, this is awesome. So anyhow, like, I think Eric and my son were making a mental note of it and this and that and the other. So when I was visiting my parents at the beginning of the year, I got I was at the hotel, and I had the front desk ring me up, and they were like, "Mr. Smith, you have a package down here." And I'm like, "Okay." So I go downstairs. They're like, "Oh, no, it's kind of big. We'll bring it up to you." They bring it up to me. It's in a box. It was a big, big box, but it wasn't very heavy. And I was like, "This is interesting." And so I open it up, and I pull it out, and it was Snake Mountain from that store, and that was my birthday present from my son, his brother, Eric, my son's mother's husband, and my family. But where the significance comes from with Snake Mountain is it had a microphone. Because when I was a kid and I got it for the very first time, I remember watching the commercials for it. There's like this microphone where it's just got like this sling reverb on it. So like when you talk into it, it like echoes your voice and everything. And it's supposed to, because Snake Mountain on the show, the mouth would open and you would hear this creepy like Skeletor, like whole thing, like, beware and all that kind of stuff. But so the thing with me is when I got the Snake Mountain, I had a microphone. It was my very first microphone.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's why I loved it so much.
That's awesome. I used to be a She-Ra fan, but yes, I watched He-Man.
Oh my God, I love that stuff.
I love it. I am power. Okay, awesome. Well, God, we'll wrap on that note. I definitely need to get in on this Attention Tension movie screening tour whenever it happens. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I need to be there. The deep dive.
You're going to be the first. I promise you, you will know. You will know exactly when it's getting ready to. When it is about to go down, Toni, you will know.
I need to be there. All right. The Deep Dive Tour this spring, you can get those dates, loudwire.com. As you mentioned, Smith and Myers going back in the studio, so music from that project coming. Shinedown apparently going back in the studio, music from that coming soon enough. Before we go, I do want to mention that Shinedown are doing some good, donating all proceeds from their Australia Love t-shirt to an organization that helps save wildlife and restores their habitat. So you could go to their socials for more on that. And I think I covered it all. Thank you so much, Brent. I love talking to you. Thank you so much.
Toni, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for all the support, and you mean a great deal to me and the band, and look forward to talking to you in the future. And, yeah, just thank you for always being there. And more to come from Shinedown, Smith & Myers, like you said. So if you need to know anything that's going on, you can find us, all over the place on all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We have a TikTok. We just haven't made anything with it yet. Snapchat, all that crazy wild stuff that the kids do. So anyway, thank you so much for all the support. We much love and respect you, my dear.